Hi everyone, Gina Craft, Facilitator of Technology Integration and Coaching, and I somehow never made an overview of Google Keep, which is like one of my favorite things in the entire world. Google Keep has done such a wonderful job of helping me get things organized, but it's also like a really great and innovative tool for students to be able to use to be able to organize notes and thoughts and, reminders and just all of these different things. So I thought we could look at some of the key features that Google Keep has to offer. There are tons and tons and tons of things, but I want to show you the basics. Okay, so this is the basics of Google Keep. You can find Google Keep by going to keep.google.com. It's also one of the icons that you can have at the bottom of your page if you don't already have it. It's also right here in your waffle. So Google Keep at its basis is like reminding. So it's a place for you to take notes. It's a place for reminders. There are lots of different ways of setting those reminders, but at its basis, Google Keep is about those reminders. You can create labels. So just like in Gmail, your labels are like folders. So you can easily label notes and then it'll automatically go in those folders. And we'll look at that in a second. In order to take a note, you just simply go to the top where it says take a note and you will click right there. At the bottom, you're going to have all of these different icons. Remind Me is a really great tool to be able to use. It can remind you at a certain time. It'll go off. You'll get a notification at a certain time. But my favorite is a certain place. I tend to set reminders at times, and then I don't check my phone or whatever it is. And then when I get somewhere, I'm like, oh, gosh, dang it, I forgot to do that. So you could pick a place. So if there's something you need to do as soon as you get to school and you don't want to forget it, you can actually set this to go off, let's say at Mattoon High School. When I get to Mattoon High School, it uses the GPS. When I get to Mattoon High School, I need to remember to check my mailbox. So when I get to Mattoon High School, I didn't save that. It is going to remind me to check my mailbox. And I can see that it was tagged right there. So when the GPS on my phone says, hey, you're at this address, boop, it goes off and it reminds you, which is so cool. You can also add this to collaborate with somebody. If you need to all be working on the same thing, just like with other Google things, you can set collaborators and you can save that. Now, you cannot give different permissions. So it's not like in other documents where you can have view only or comment only. If they're a collaborator, they're a collaborator. They have all of the same access. You can always remove that just by clicking that X and clicking save as well. You can change the color. So I have different backgrounds for different things for me to remember. So my book studies that I do, sometimes are different colors. This TechWise family was a different color than in my Chromebook and infused book study. But you can set all kinds of different backgrounds. So we could set that, you could do just about anything. So there's a lot of different options here for different backgrounds and things like that that you could do. You can also add images. So when I first learned about Google Keep, it was actually at a tech conference, right? And they said, when you go to conferences, rather than doing everything in a big, long Google Doc, what you should do is you should do a Google Keep for every session, but then game changer in the top of your Keep to create or take a picture or whatever, an image of that session. So maybe this session was on feedback. And so I would put the image of feedback at the top, and then I would know exactly which session this was with everything. So genius. I thought that was such a great idea. You can archive notes, which means that they will be over here. They won't be in the trash. So you can see I've got lots of different ones here to be archived. So they will stay there, but they will not go in the trash. Now, notice I didn't save my note, so my note disappeared. That's okay. You can add labels. You can add drawings. So this is really cool because it actually creates annotations here. So I could do 4, oh Lord, plus 3 equals 7. Really great math. And then you can then add that in. So you can actually do all of these different annotations and things like that. You can add in squares. So if you're graphing something, you could do that. You could add in lined paper. There's just so many options that you have, right? You can also go back to those 3 dots at the bottom, look at all these different options. So we could delete that note, we could add labels, we can make a copy if we want to just make a copy of this whole entire note. Show checkboxes is like my fave. So this makes it a checklist. So you can make, I do this for my groceries. So if I need chicken, cheese, milk, and then maybe you want something that's like indented, that's like part of a category. So maybe you have a lot of, if you're really detail oriented like me, maybe you have a lot of dressings that you need to get, right? So I can drag that in once I list it. So maybe I need to get ranch. I can put ranch dressing, and then I can drag that in. See how it indented? So you can also even do that. I do this a lot with my groceries. It's really great. And then it gives you that sweet satisfaction of feeling like you crossed something off of your list. I do this all the time, especially with my big rocks for like a long period of time where I don't want to have a piece of paper floating around for a long time. I want something that's going to be there for a long time digitally, and I still get that wonderful, sweet satisfaction of crossing something off of a list. One really great way I like to use Google Keep is by taking those notes, but then it has integration with other Google things like Google Docs. So one thing I thought of was, for ELA, when students are writing research papers or they have to have note cards for something, and what do? They lose their note cards over and over and over again. But if they did it as a Google Keep, they could do each note card as a Google Keep. And then there's this really great integration. On the right-hand side of a document, there's this toolbar. If yours isn't there, you probably have this little arrow at the bottom right-hand corner. I'm going to move myself out of the way. Bottom right-hand corner. If you click that, it's going to show that side panel. Now, if you click on the Google Keep icon, this is going to bring up all of your Google Keeps. So if you had a note card for each one, students could then take this note card, you drag it and you drop it in, add a document, and then here's the content. So then they could go in and they could obviously edit, and they could add in, and they could put citations. I mean, they could do all of it, but that could be a great way of having your virtual note cards right next to your document. You're not going to lose either one of them, and they're seamlessly integrated in with each other. Casey Bell for Shake Up Learning, she's the one that came and spoke with us a couple years ago virtually. She has a whole bunch of ideas of how this can really work seamlessly in the classroom. And so that is going to be included. There's lots and lots of different options there. Another really wonderful resource. So check all of those things out. Google Keep is a really great resource that you can use personally, professionally, and students can absolutely utilize as well.